La miniserie A Friend of the Family o Un amigo de la familia está basada en hechos de la vida real. La acción nos lleva a los años 70 y gira en torno a Robert Berchtold, un hombre que abusó sexualmente de la pequeña Jan Broberg y la secuestró en 2 ocasiones. Con el paso de los años, Jan se convirtió en una conocida actriz, cantante y bailarina y consignó su traumática experiencia en el libro Inocencia Perdida, la historia de Jan Broberg. La producción, que acaba de ingresar al catálogo de Universal Plus, está basada en esa pieza literaria y en el documental Abducted in Plain Sight, que también narra lo sucedido. De manera virtual, Jan me habló sobre este episodio de su vida. Vean.
This is probably what you wanted for yourself.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for this. Jan, I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate the fact that you are sharing your story with us in this format. And this is my question. Back then in the 70s, we were a more trusting society, and neighbors were part of the family. However, when one watches the series now in this world we live currently in, it is unavoidable to question how your parents allow this horrible thing happened to you, not once, but twice. So how did you find understanding and forgiveness?
So first of all, I think it's really important to relate back to maybe you. Do you have a best friend? Do you have a favorite uncle? Are you close to your grandfather? We're one of those people that you found out had harmed your child or your brother or sister or something like that. How devastating would that be? First and foremost, you have to imagine that, because that's how close we were to this family, not just to B, but to his wife, Gail. I still have ceramics that she taught me how to paint. I still have them. I still use her chocolate chip cookie recipe for the best chocolate chip cookies I've ever made. I have these things. We were so close. So what I think I can say is I knew how good my parents were, how they raised us to love everyone, to have kindness, to do service, to be grateful. It was part of my DNA. So partly I was able to forgive them because I knew he was a master predator who we never saw coming, and they didn't either. They thought he was their best friend. He felt like the favorite uncle. We were so close. It was 2.5 years of 2 or 3 times a week doing activities with this family. His oldest son, Jerry, I write in my little diary that he was the first boy that ever held my hand as we walked to the park, and he swung me on the swings. So there was so much innocence in my parents and in myself and in our world that we lived in, which maybe there's not as much innocence in the world today, like you started with. However, there are people in your life that someday you will find out someone in your immediate circle, your family, if you don't know somebody already, which I bet you do, someone was harmed, and it wasn't by a stranger. It was by someone they knew, probably already trusted, and everybody loved. And you just didn't know it. You didn't see it. That's why I wanted to tell a story, and that's why I'm so grateful that I had a master storyteller like Nick to help me do it. Because I remember for years thinking, I'll never find somebody that can tell this story. They won't get it. They'll never get it. And yet this is happening to millions and millions and millions of people. There's approximately 2 billion people around the globe who have either been abused and are walking around as adults, carrying that harm and that trauma, and then another billion that are being abused right now, that are children, tweens, teens, or young adults, plus all of the rape of, grown people, men and women. And I think until we actually talk about it and we actually see it happening in our own communities, our own congregations, in our own families, and then talk about it and don't shush it and don't sweep it under the rug and don't put our head in the sand, it will continue. The numbers will continue to grow, and that makes me sick, and I want to stop it. So I'm here to cheer on not only this story, but everybody's story. Open your mouths, let's start a movement. Let's make this stop.
Thank you.
Who are the Berchtolds? They're new. I'm Jan.
Pleased to meet you, Jan.
See me loving nobody He gets these impulsive moods.